Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with Beth Traverso. How you doing, Beth?
Hey, doing great, Mike. Thanks so much for having me back. Always a favorite
Oh,
part of my week chatting with
I
you.
I appreciate that. I don't know if you've taken time to look at the comments, but people really love you as a new addition to the
Oh,
expert
that's so
series.
nice. I really appreciate everybody taking time out of their day to listen. Hope I can provide a little bit of value. And I love when people chime in with questions and specific things that they're wondering about. I'm here to help. So hopefully
Awesome.
can
And
continue to do that.
you're doing an amazing job. So
Thank
video
you.
number one I'm doing with all of my real estate agents and real estate brokers, probably for the next couple of months, is just, hey, what's going on in your market? I think the housing market is changing faster than most people anticipate. You are in what I'll call an expensive market. Omar, who's just before you, is in a relatively cheap market. So it is very interesting to tie together what is going on. So let's remind people what market you are in and what's going on inside the data in your market.
Yeah, so I'm in the greater Seattle market. So when I'm talking about data overall, I'll say King County, which is about 2 million people. That includes the city of Seattle and then the east side, which is where I'm located. And actually, those two parts of the market, there's actually several submarkets that are all operating very differently. So it's important to really drill down into your buy box or your specific market that you're looking into. And I can't speak for anybody else's market out there. That's why you've got these other
Yeah.
experts that know what they're doing. So every once in a while, some people chime in, but my market's not doing that. Like, great, you learn
Awesome.
what's going on in your market.
Yeah.
My market's behaving in certain ways, and that's my job to interpret that. So,
Mhm.
um, what we're seeing is over the summer, things have slowed down a little bit, after actually pretty dramatically after a very excessively frothy early start to the year. So starting right out of the chute in January, prices surged in ways that we've never seen before. And I've been selling real estate for 24 years in this area. Seen a lot of up and down markets. This was the fastest I've seen. And then the fastest crash. I mean, it really was a crash, not in price. Well, prices are still up year over year, but from the peak to where we are now is very, very different. So a
Mhm.
lot of the conversations I'm having with my clients, buyers and sellers, is helping them make sense of what's been happening with this whiplash of the up and then the down, and what does that mean now. And what I have found is that in the areas of my market that have been the higher end, those were the fastest to surge and the fastest to retreat. So what
That's
we're seeing in the
interesting.
lower end areas is more of that, but not nearly as much. It went up about half as fast and came down about half as fast.
So let me poke at that a little bit because I think that's a very important conversation. Because again, I get a lot of heat for my median house call, right? Again,
Yeah.
I can talk about Fresno or the country, right?
Yeah.
Anything other than that, not your guy, right?
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I felt really good about the median home price kind of going up, but single digits, this year, next year, is because again, I think the median. So like, what is the median in King County roughly?
Median King County is around 990 or so.
Wow,
Or
that's
no,
an
I sorry, no,
expensive
no,
market.
that was where it was peaked. It peaked at around 990 a couple months ago. Now we're down more closer to 875
All
or
right,
around there.
that's a hell of a fall in
Hmm.
whatever 3 4
Yeah.
months. That's 10%.
Yeah.
That's
And on the
amazing.
east side where I am, it surged up to 1.6 and then now it's down to about 1.3. So,
That's interesting because again, when you look at median home price for the country, I think the last number I remember was 416.
hmm,
And you have to know what the median is, right? It's simply the number in the middle.
right.
It's not a weighted average.
Hmm.
It's just like, hey, we sold 101 homes. What did the 50th home sell for, right? That's what median is.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when I think about your market in context of median home price, even your low end stuff is pulling the median price higher,
Correct.
right? You sell an 800 home, which might be low for you. It's still pulling the median higher. So when I look at your market, the fact that the low end is still transacting, it's just going to distort things, right? It may pull down King County, but it pushes up,
Mhm.
you know, the country.
And interestingly, what I've been seeing in our lower end first time home buyers, which I'm big fan of the first time home buyer and helping them get in
Mhm.
when it's the getting is more. I don't know if it's right to say the getting is good, but where it's more advantageous to a buyer
Yeah.
than it used to be. It was
Yeah.
not good before. We can all agree
No.
on that.
Yeah.
This is better.
January, February was
Yeah.
not good. Yeah.
Is they've been really reticent overall. Hard to make a commitment. And I think it's because a lot of the doubt out there. They've been very tentative tentative about putting offers in. There's a lot of sitting on the sidelines. So I'm not seeing as much activity on that lower end as one would expect just looking at the data. And a lot of our we've been seeing that on the listing side and on the buying side. There's some interesting psychology going on there.
Yeah, and I unfortunately don't have a rosy picture for you or for any agent heading into the end of the year. And this is why. I think it's fair to say, and I think you said it last week, June, the market crashed 50%, right? Transactions fell. If we step back and we're honest with ourselves, why did that happen? Because 30-year mortgages broke 6%. That psychological
Exactly what
number.
happened.
Well, guess what just happened? We just did it again.
So
and
the shock factor may not be there.
But here's the problem.
But
there's a comma.
Yeah.
I think we're going to 7.
And I know you said that last week, and I have to admit that gives me a little bit of a knot.
That doesn't feel good. That's not good.
I mean, it doesn't, but I'm one of those people, I believe there's always opportunity. We adapt. The question is, what are you going to do about it as an agent whose living depends on real estate sales? What am I going to do about it as an agent? And then there's, what am I going to be doing about it as an investor?
They're different
both of those
answers.
things.
Yes.
Yeah. And both are important.
How
am I going to help my clients? How am I going to help my clients navigate this market better? That's what they're looking to me for. Yeah. And then how are my people that are maybe watching this channel that want to know, how do I invest in this market? Then I need to have answers for that.
Yeah. So again, I think transactions are going to go down. Again, some of that happens just because it's the winter. I think we're going to get a double dose of winter plus higher rates. And again, we know what happened at 6. I cannot imagine what happens at 7. Eventually it'll work out when people get over the shock. But
the buyers that are coming in the market now, Mike, I'm seeing are a different group than we had the first part of the year.
Who are they?
I don't know what happened to them. Some of them, a lot of them bought houses. A lot of them moved on. Maybe some decided to do other things and maybe they'll come back. But a lot of the buyers we have that we're working with now are people who are newer to the market. And so they don't really remember, they know what happened because they heard about it and they saw what their friends were doing and maybe they didn't like that. And who can blame them? But now they're back, but they're definitely going to be a little more reserved in how they structure their offers and how they negotiate and how they take their time. And I'm not saying any of that's a bad thing.
No, let me be very clear. I'm going to say this as often as I can because you never know which videos people will see. If you are a buyer today, investor or home buyer, I want to tell you 3 things. Don't pay list price. Ask for closing cost credits and get a rate buy down. Why not? You have the power, use it.
And what I'm seeing as a listing agent, I agree with all of those things. And what I'm seeing as a listing agent is people go for the price and they're in my market, they're not really asking for those other things. And I'm wondering why not? Because in some ways that's more impactful.
Oh, it's I mean, if you do the yield calculation, which is all I ever teach and talk about, you get a closing cost credit in your market. Shoot, that could be like 18 grand.
Yeah, I would love to have 18 grand in my pocket,
like
versus,
cash, like real money.
Yeah, actual money in your bank account. I would take that any day.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So as we kind of round out the conversation in your market, I want to kind of share with you what I think is coming so people can look back and say, yeah, you got it, or you got it wrong. So I think inventory falls between now and the end of the year because, again, I think rates will make more and more potential home sellers go, I think we're going to stay here another year because the trade-off is just not there. So inventory is going to go down. This is going to be wild. And I think days on market are going to go up. That's not normal, but that's something I think is coming.
That's a continuation of the trend that I'm already seeing. And so I think by the time we get to the holidays, in my market, we're going to be on life support.
Yes. Well, life support as an agent. As an investor, your deal of the decade could be found between Thanksgiving and New Year's.
Yeah, totally. So like I'm saying, it's all good and bad to everything. But as far as inventory, that's going to be on life support. I think it's going to dwindle down to almost nothing. We are seeing longer market times for sure. Even on the good houses that are priced well. It's not the stigma that it used to be where if a house is on the market for a week, people would think, something's wrong with that house. I can't figure it out, but something's wrong with that house. There's not necessarily what people, even the good ones are sometimes taking longer to sell right now. And it doesn't have the same negative impact necessarily. So but
Yeah. Well, folks, you can
And
clearly see Beth cares. Beth comes at this from both the real estate agent, broker, top 1% in the country, and an investor. That's why she's an expert. Please follow her. Beth, how should they follow you?
yeah, so they can follow me on Instagram at Beth Traverso Group. I think it's the Beth Traverso Group. Sorry, I don't do that much Instagram. I know I'm behind the times on that. I'm on Facebook also as the Beth Traverso or the Beth Traverso Group. And then also my website, bethtraversogroup.com.
Awesome.
So a
Thank
lot
you
of
so
Beth
much.
Traverso in there. So
There you
anyway,
go.
you
Thanks.
just Google me, you'll find me. It's easy to find me.
There you go.